Hey, what's going on, guys? Joe with OMGRC here. Today I have the Lightning. It's the Redcat. It's the Drift, but I put different tires on there. You can see that. Anyway, these are from a phaser that I have. It's a Mitsubishi Lancer. Anyway, I figured I'd go ahead and do a little run of this. It's brand new out of the box. It is running on a 3S LiPo. It's a 5,000 milliamp, 45C burst, or 45C continuous there. And it's just the stock electronic speed controller that's in there, so it is all the brushed factory, and even the remote itself. As far as 8 AA's, I was gonna switch out the radio because I don't want to be using 8 AA's. It's kind of ridiculous. Anyway, let's get started.
So as far as the car goes, it's pretty quick. Trying to get traction.
Definitely scraping the ground. I'll have to raise the body up just a little bit. Whew, that was close.
All right, I think I kind of go over real quick here what I changed on it, because in the beginning of it I just did a running video. Anyway, this is a 3S LiPo. This is what I was running in there. As far as the external, everything held up well on that part of it. These are different tires from a phaser by Kyosho. That part of it, that's the only thing. As far as outside, that would be the only thing that I've changed. The body held up pretty well. It does have some little markings that you can see right there. Now those were actually rubs, like from the shock post itself. So there's some little spots that kind of got wore out, but that was very minimal. Anyway, it handled really well. Actually, the speed was pretty good on the 3S. I was pretty pleased with that. As far as, you know, accommodating the bigger battery, now, because, I mean, that battery fits in there pretty well. And the only thing I had to do, well, a couple things I had to do. First, these little things that cradle the stock battery, the stick pack one, you can remove these. I keep these here so that doesn't rub up against the actual drive shaft itself. And they're only Phillips screws, so you just have to, like there would be 2 more sitting right here. I just undid those 2, and that's it. And then as far as these, so because this battery's taller and it gives me a little bit more options, I took them off of, they're from the Traxxas Fortec. You can find other body mounts, but these worked fine. It gave me more height, and that worked out perfect that way, so I could hold down the battery, you know, when it comes to holding it down here. So that was all good on that. And I did run on a 3S, like I said in the video in the beginning there, and it handled everything pretty fine. Now, I would say if it's on a warm, hot day, whatever, you gotta be seriously, like it says here, caution hot motor. It gets really hot. The only problem I see with that is that it's hard to get a heat sink on there because there's no clearance. They didn't leave any clearance for it. It'd have been nice. I get it why they kind of expanded that out there a little bit, but it didn't allow for any room when it comes to getting an actual heat sink on there. So that's kind of a bummer on that part of it, unless you kind of notch it or something like that. I don't know. You can always customize it, I suppose. Tires were pretty good. It was in Florida. You get lots of sand blowing around. You know, we don't have really dirt. So the sand, and it makes everything slippery. So there's not a lot of traction, as per se, on that part of it, because that was a school area, and it's pretty slick anyhow, as far as that tarmac. So I would just say, you know, that asphalt, whatever, doesn't have a lot of traction there. But it still held up pretty well, and since it's aerodynamic, it kept it down pretty good. I would say as far as speed, you know, I don't have a GPS to kind of tell you exactly, and I didn't like the trigger one as far as the gun itself. So that's something I'll have to, down the road, get a little GPS, and kind of that way, if you guys are like, oh, really want to know what the speed is on it out of the box with the 3S, would be kind of cool to know. Like, oh yeah, it was doing like 32 miles an hour or something like that. I'm going to say it's doing at least 30, you know, with the 3S. It's quicker than the Fortec that I was running, and I had trying to think what I had in that, if that was a 3S. No, that was a 2S. So who knows what that Fortec would do, but unfortunately the speed controller that I put in there can only handle a 2S LiPo. Getting back, I'm going to change that anyhow. Probably I'm going to go ahead and upgrade this car, but I want to at least get the first video being basically stock other than the battery. I don't do so hot on the nickel metal. There's not a lot of run time in it, and you don't get that punch, and because it's 3S that I can do, gave me more voltage, and that's why I went with it. I did change it out to a T-style, whatever, Dean style connection here. So if you guys are good at soldering or anything like that, you can buy adapters, but I really would say try to learn how to solder, because it's going to be beneficial down the road. Especially it's going to make it easier for you to, oh, I got a deal on the batteries, and you can go ahead and just switch out the connections. And by any means, you know, if down the road you want to switch it out, you know how to solder all that stuff, and you know, take your time with it. I'm sure there's plenty of videos out there on soldering, but it's definitely something to get into if you're going to be in this hobby anyhow, because it's going to come up quite often when you're changing stuff out. I think that's about it, man. Let me know how you thought as far as the run on it, you know. But overall, great car. Also, don't forget to check out our OMGRC website. You know, help us out. You know, by going to our website, you know, buying some RC stuff, you know, supports the channel as well, family. And anyway, also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Till next time, this was Joe with OMGRC. Thank you for watching. Later.